It is Tuesday, it is 8:30, it is Martin Savage. How are you?
I'm good, Ron, and you?
I'm very good. Konnichiwa is it's the morning time
It's
one.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu. Ohio gozaimasu.
Gozaimasu. Yeah.
Japan, judo, Warren Point, Martin Savage, lifetime dedication to the sport, the discipline and the spirituality of the judo way. And I remind people of the wonderful, my youthful days of doing a little judo, and my family, my children doing some judo. We loved it. We loved it in those days, and you were there at the heart of it, growing strong in it. And
those were good days. We were in Belfast Road in the.
That's right.
It was the old wooden.
That's
hut.
right.
I don't know. I think it had been a factory at one stage.
Yeah, it was around the back of the
courthouse.
Yeah, over at the Presbyterian. It's the church there. It is the Presbyterian Church on the Belfast Road. It was there. Yeah, yeah. So, what sort of week has it been for you?
It's been a good week. We're preparing now, as I said, we've been saying for the last couple of weeks. This competition's coming up on Sunday in Dublin. It's a kata competition. I'm not kata competitions are grand, but I think people can get too tied into them. It's almost like competitive judo in a sense. You can get sort of tunnel vision, and all you can see is that particular kata that you're practicing for, and going and doing the best possible competition you can with it. And in a sense, it's very confining. It restricts your judo, I think. But I think it's a good idea. Kata has had a bad, press for such a long time in judo. People have forgotten about it, don't think it's relevant. And I think competition is bringing it to the fore and getting more people involved in it. But I think you have to sort of temper that with the idea that the competition kata is not real kata in a sense. It's using kata.
And we remind people that kata is the technique.
It's the form of judo.
How you do it, and it's not necessarily throwing people around the mat.
There's quite a lot of kata, in fact, but there's a kata of throws. Nagano kata is a kata of throws. But there's also a kata of groundwork. Katamino kata, which holds hold downs, arm locks, and strangles. There's kata for striking techniques. Atemi-waza, which aren't used in judo competition because they're too dangerous. The karate people seem to have no problem with using that in their competitions, but in judo it's decided it's too dangerous. So those striking techniques, the atemi-waza, are taught through kata.
That's important. And to what extent are you able, Martin, to leave judo at the front door of your home in Warren Point when you go inside? Does it invade your personal life? To what extent does it invade your personal life? Are there gentle rituals? Do you walk in a gentler way because of judo? Do you communicate with your family in a different way because of judo? I just sense that it has gone very deeply into you and has made you a better person. I
think invasion is probably the wrong word. I think invasion has the implication of being somewhere where you shouldn't be.
Yes.
And I think judo doesn't invade, certainly, but it's something that I don't leave at the front door. I don't, consciously take it in with me, if you want to think of it that way. But certainly, it's become part of my being in a way. I think the philosophy of judo if you want to think of something, the greatest lesson I've probably learned from judo, that doesn't apply to the mat really and competitively, but applies to your whole life, is this principle of giving way, of not meeting situations head on, and being able to sometimes distinguish between situations that need to be confronted and other ones that don't, and situations that you might have to deal with that you can deal with in a better way by maybe sidestepping and looking at them. This attitude of, if you meet something head on, you're looking at it from a totally different direction to the person who's looking at you. It's like, I'm looking at you, I'm seeing something different to what you're seeing.
Yeah.
But if I can turn myself and see the situation, I can see the situation the way that you see it, then maybe I can deal with it better.
Yeah. The other thought is, bamboo is one of the finest and most slender plants in the forest kingdom. And yet, you've seldom seen a bamboo broken naturally.
Yes.
This slender plant, this slender shoot, moves to the wind.
Yeah.
It will move. it will bend, it never breaks.
Yep.
And this kind of is judo at the heart of it.
It is. Funny, the simile they picked for this wasn't bamboo, although it could apply equally to bamboo. It was willow.
Willow. Same thing.
The Japanese word for willow is yoshin. And one of the very earliest schools of jiu-jitsu was Yoshinru, which was school of the willow. Which gives this impression that you're just saying of giving way, of bending in the wind. The mighty oak can be very strong, but come a very, very heavy storm and it can break. It can fall,
very much so.
Whereas the willow, as you say, or the bamboo,
smooth,
just sways. Yeah,
absolutely.
In Japan. I was in a place called Arashiyama. Arashiyama is in a forest park, just outside, quite close to Kyoto, and it's amazing. The bamboo is so high, and it's just a forest of bamboo.
Wow.
And the name is actually very Arashiyama.
Arashiyama.
Arashi in Japanese means storm, and Yama means mountain.
Storm Mountain.
Storm Mountain. Is
Wow. I tell you. Yeah. But the whole notion of the quietude of the Japanese way, the judo way, the level of spirituality that's in it. And we were talking before we started about the notion of a deity, a god, and that the generosity of giving, of charity, of love, wherever you find charity, love, you also find God.
This is your little postscript to your posts on Facebook in the mornings.
Yes, it's the Teze chant.
Yes.
Ubi caritas et amor, Deus ibi est, and it means quite simply, it means where there is charity and love, there is God.
I was reading something about this, and it's almost contradictory, in a sense.
Really?
Yeah, because if you really think about it, one of the tenets of the Catholic Church and Christianity is God be omnipresent.
Yes.
Now, if God is omnipresent, then that statement becomes redundant.
It does.
Because he's always there.
Yeah.
But if it could also be contradictory in the sense that if God is only present with his charity and love, then he's not omnipresent.
I understand this, and I first of all say that my take on it is not something that comes from any religion. This notion of where charity and love are, there is God. And I have a difficulty with it that you're beginning to bring into focus for me. But the difficulty I don't have with it is the religious thing, because I'm not religious at all. And people say, oh, you're very religious. I'm not. I seek to be spiritual. That's my journey in life, to be spiritual.
Well, that certainly comes through.
Well, I hope it does, because I work very hard at it, and you can actually influence people to walk the journey with you.
Yeah.
But the notion, I remember, maybe I told you before, it was almost like being in a Japanese garden. Brother Thierry of the monastery in the valley of St. Brona, the Holy Cross Monastery, the Benedictines of Rostrevor. It was Brother Benoit. Brother Benoit was in the garden picking flowers. And he was going to take the basket of blossom back to his workshop to adorn the candles they make there. And I said to him, Benoit, it's so lovely to see you here in the beautiful surroundings of God. I just sense there's a spirituality, a goodness here. And very cleverly, Benoit turned it on me. He said, but Rohan, why is it you always think you only find God in beauty? There is God
in everything.
Yeah. So it's the same
point.
It is. It's the same point. And what cupboard does God keep his charity and love in when airplanes crash into mountains in the Alps? Where is charity and love of God there? All that sort of thing comes into focus.
There was a man used to come around, one of the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And sometimes they can be a bit of a pest because they're knocking at your door and trying to convert you. But this guy got to know him over a period of time. A fellow called Michael Henderson. He's not here anymore. He moved back home. But he's from Newcastle, I think, or somewhere in England. But I remember asking him this, how can this come about? How can God be all-knowing and know that something bad's happening and allow it to happen. You know, how can this be the case? And his answer, right, which you can pick holes in as well, of course, but I thought it was quite good. He says, it's like a book, right? Your life, the whole of the world is like a book, and God has the choice. He can know what's going to happen. He can look to see, but sometimes he chooses not to. Of course, the argument is, why does he choose not to? But it means that while God can be all-knowing, you know, omnipotent, he doesn't necessarily have to know. He can choose not to.
You see, I would struggle with that in terms of the murder of the innocents. You know, God goes to the Holy Family. Hey, Mary, Joseph, Jesus, hightail it out of here. He's coming. Herod's coming. He's going to murder all the babies. He tells his own people, but he doesn't tell the neighbor's children and the neighbor's parents. And that blows my mind away. I don't understand why that is. And I've been working on that. And part of the rationale I'm coming up with is an extraordinary enough concept that God is not all-powerful. You know, for some reason. Because if he were all-powerful, that God who is all-powerful would not allow that evil to happen. That's what I thought. And then why is he not all-powerful? Maybe he's not all-powerful because of the extent of the battle that exists between good and evil. And maybe evil can hold sway up to a certain point. Now, I tell you, that's maybe a daft answer, but it's as good an answer as I have ever got from popes, princes, prelates, bishops. They don't know. They don't have answers to it. In fact, if there's anyone out there who wears a collar or wears purple or a crown or sits in a golden throne of Catholicism or Protestantism, you tell me why God allows the innocents to suffer. We need to know the answer to that.
Of course, the concept of evil, where has that, if you extrapolate back, where has that come from? Because if God was always there,
and always all-powerful.
And always all-powerful, and the originator of everything, then surely evil has to have originated from him. And it's hard, that's hard to take on board.
And you know, otherwise, if you put, indeed. And then the Big Bang. All these fellows who say, and we go to the start now, the Big Bang was the beginning of everything. You're a scientist.
No.
I say to people who say that, can you please tell me then the constituent parts of the Big Bang? What went into the Big Bang? What was it went bang? And they don't know.
No.
They don't know at all. We talked last week or 2 weeks ago of the loveliness of that moment of blossom, the cherry blossom of Japan. Did I ever tell you of the lovely cherry blossom tree in Newry? It was in the garden of Ken Kenny. Ken Kenny was an architect on the Belfast Road in Newry, just on the corner of Downshire Place and Windsor Avenue. That corner, and there's a garden there. And Ken Kenny, he reared his family there. And he had the most magnificent Japanese cherry blossom tree there. Really wonderful. And
they are beautiful.
They are. And they've been coming out in Washington this last week to see them. They've been there coming and then the Japanese there, you sent the most lovely little, I must play that now tomorrow. It's a lovely YouTube video of the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japan.
Hanami.
It's a lovely, lovely Hanami. Happy Hanami.
Hana means flower in Japanese. Strangely enough, it's also the Japanese word for nose.
Really?
Hana, and mi means to look at or to view. So Hanami, flower viewing.
The flower viewing.
But they're gone in Tokyo now.
They're gone in Tokyo.
They're gone in Tokyo.
It's a metaphor for life, really. You know, life goes so, you're gone.
As I said to you before, the Sakura, which is the Japanese word for cherry blossom, squadron with the kamikaze pilots. And
goodness gracious.
People have this notion what the word kamikaze, right? Again, means storm of the gods, right? Kami means God in Japanese, and kaze is a storm. And kamikaze, storm, or wind more than storm, wind of the gods, right?
Wow, so you're acting,
But it's more than that. It's Mongolian hordes that came to attack Japan historically, and were about to land but couldn't, because this massive storm forced them back. And the Japanese always believed the storm had come from the gods, the wind had come from the gods to blow them back and not let them invade. So that's why they gave the name kamikaze to these pilots, because they were preventing the invasion of Japan. If
you can understand that. In a sense, you know, no greater love has man than to lay down his life for those he loves, for his family, for his neighbor. So the Japanese were saying, we're being beaten up to now, but this is a way of protecting all that I value. And this is a heroic gesture.
It is. It's there's two contradictory things there. You've got what you call Giri and Ninjo. And Giri is duty, what you feel you really, really have to do. You owe an obligation to your family, to your country that has helped you and has brought you to the position you're in. But also you've got Ninjo, which is your personal feelings. And it's always a contradiction in Japanese, that, but they don't want to do it. As I said to you a few weeks ago, these guys did not want to go and become suicide pilots. That was the one thing in life they really didn't want to do. But they had the obligation. They felt they had an obligation as Giri to go and do it. And the contradiction, what happens in most things, Japanese Giri becomes the all predominant, the deciding factor, if you like. Whereas probably in Western world, you go with what you wanted to do yourself.
Yes.
Duty might be pushed to one side.
Boys dear, I tell you. What sort of prayers do they say in Japan?
I don't know. They've got two religions, you see, which could be a lesson for us, because they can live with two religions. They live quite happily as Buddhists and Shintoists.
Buddhists and Shintoists.
I can never remember which way around it is, but they're either born a Buddhist and die as Shintoist. The ceremony, if you like, or else it's the other way around. I can't remember which. But they seem to have no problem marrying the two religions together, and they've obviously got mantras in one where they sit and just they repeat the same phrase over and over. And Buddhists have beads. They have a rosary of sorts. Beads, prayer
I
beads.
once discovered that Limerick platform on the way to Cork is 2 rosaries long. Extraordinary enough thought, because I was stuck for 2 hours there.
Yes.
And I'd been given a pair of rosary beads by a priest who had just come home from Africa.
Yes.
And he had been there a long time. And I was footering with these things. So I said, God, I remember the rosary. I'll try it. And as I walked up the Limerick platform, it took me the length of the platform going up.
Yes.
1 rosary.
Yes.
And by the time I got back, I had done 2. And I was filled with grace for at least 5 minutes.
Very good one. That's a good way to look at it.
I hope we'll see you soon again.
Hopefully, yes.
It will be good. And what does the day hold for you now?
Well, we go and do the shopping.
Isn't it great to be doing that?
Well, I don't know, but it's not a spectator sport, Rowan, is it
No,
really?
it's not. No, it's not. I made some, I'm staying at the moment in my daughter's home in preparation for my travelling away.
Yes.
And I made a spaghetti bolognese for them the other evening. And I reckon my spaghetti bolognese isn't bad. Very, very best quality mince, chopped up bacon, lots of olive oil, lots of tomatoes, and that's all they have in Italy. But we add lots of onion and lots of mushroom, carrot, peppers.
This is your Boy Scout training coming out, isn't it?
It is. I just let it simmer. It simmered for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous. It was really magnificent.
Good student food, that,
Oh, yeah. But you take it, once you get to a certain age, you take it to another level of sophistication. And that I found out was the amount of olive oil, good quality olive oil you use, and then very, very fine quality Parmesan cheese, which you grate yourself just before eating it. And then when you do the spaghetti, you put a huge knob of butter in the middle of the spaghetti and lots of pepper. And now you wouldn't want to be doing it too often for the health end of things. It would be good.
Well, the olive oil's good.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't do you any harm.
No.
I wish you well.
And you too.
God bless you.
Got
That's
it.
not bad.
That was good.
We're close.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
close.
Go on.
Go well. Martin Savage.